Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Thanks for waiting, guys.
But she lays down weird.
Okay, so it is 7:51. We're going to call the Brookfield Conservation Commission meeting open public part back into session. Okay. All right, Ms. Reynolds, we've heard your complaint. We've heard what you had to say. This is what the commission has decided that we're going to do. Can we make this a motion or? All right, I'll make this deal and someone can just back up the motion. I would want to do it. The commission is going to do
Can I just say one thing? I did make a mistake when I was giving my presentation. When I said the Keith Realty was back today, I was looking at the wrong realty. They are still dissolved. I have it online.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
So they are dissolved corporation who's applying for permits.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. So the commission is okay. So the commission has your open meeting law complaint. We will be doing a formal response. You will receive that response tonight. Okay. We're also going to refer this matter over to town council to review the open meeting law complaint and our response as well. So if they want to do an amendment or to make sure that we covered all the bases. We're also going to ask town council to take a look at our bylaw and give us clarification on the discrepancies that or the questions that we have. So can I get a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Motion so carries. Thank you. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda item is going to be 101 Weber Road for continuation of RDA.
It's me. Hi. We can't vote because we don't have a quorum without me.
1, 2,
So
3. What?
yeah, because we added Emily.
There's 4. We're a board of 7. There's
We
4 of
added
us.
Emily, so we would need 5.
We're a board.
I mean, we would need.
Then I think
Yeah,
4
we
is
would need
enough.
5.
4. We need 4. 4 is a quorum.
All right.
Sorry. But as my 5th grade math teacher used to say, show me your work.
I would say 5, but okay.
Show me where you went wrong. All right, so are you recusing yourself?
I am recusing myself.
Okay.
So, as we know, this has been on the agenda for a while. I'm sitting over here.
She's currently not on the board.
And so Mary Ann DePinto went out there. I don't know if you got a chance to read her letter. She stated that he was, I think, 25 feet within the buffer zone. He was not in a wetland. She suggested leaving the work as is. She did say that he could file another RDA and apply wood chips. She did state that the barrier should stay also around it. It's withstood some pretty well storms. It hasn't moved. No erosion controls have gone, or erosion has gone into the wetland. So she was pretty confident that it should just stay how it is. I think at the end she did say that he could require wood chips. So I am requesting the board to accept the RDA with the delineation as is. The delineation that Mary Ann gave will give him, the delineation will stand for 3 years. So if he does go off and sell the property, not saying that he's going to, he doesn't want to do any more work, but just in case it does, the delineation does stand. So Mary Ann's work does stand.
Okay.
So within that 25 feet, border vegetation, do we have species anything like that?
And that's all just going to be left as is, right?
Yeah, so there's been no further disturbance. So Mary Ann basically said that going in and doing work is actually going to affect the wetland and affect more because it has withstood I mean, we went out there originally back in November, so we're going on 6-7 months that the work has been sitting there.
Did they plant anything on the slope?
Did they what?
Plant like rye on the slope or anything?
No, all she suggested was wood chips. I think she suggested something else, but she did say, Marianne did say to me, if he wanted to do the wood chips, or if the commission wanted anything else, he would have to file another RDA and continue the work.
Okay.
They're mostly swamp maples out there and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what about like adding some vegetation back that we could
I think doing anything more over there is gonna make it,
plant a couple trees on the side of the hill?
that's, yeah, I don't,
Yeah, I think her recommendation, I can look it up, I think her recommendation was only wood chips and something else.
Well,
Yeah,
it was
because
to leave the
Yeah,
the trees have been put down kind of almost. as
so if
a
we have them
barrier.
over this, planting, well, if we plant the trees, supposed to see it around, I guess, A-okay, but if it's got all their size, dredging, put an existing tree in there, that could be an issue, right?
so she said, it is my professional opinion that the woody debris should be left in place to provide some additional slope stability and small animal cover habitat. The slope has remained remarkably stable through some significant storm events in this winter. To increase the stability, wood chips could be broadcasted over the exposed soil. Another possibility would be to create a berm or stone-lined trench along the top of the slope to direct runoff from the section closest to the wetlands. Before any additional work is considered within 100 feet of the wetland boundary, another RDA or a notice of intent for more extensive work should be submitted to the Conservation Commission.
So it's already been 7 months and there hasn't been any erosion.
So it seems like leaving it as is.
Let's say wood chips.
Which is,
Yeah, which
What
is,
about the berm?
That's a compromise, I think.
yeah.
What about the berm?
No, it's, I mean, if there's not erosion at this point, you'd probably actually, by putting a berm, redirecting the water, it's gonna
Sure.
create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I talked to Mr. Curtis, and he is more than happy to file another RTA and get an estimate for the wood chips and go that route. So if we need to go that route, we will gladly.
What, I mean,
Well,
basically, we've done.
this is a continuation, I think we'd have to make you file a whole new one, like, where,
So, yes, so Marianne DePinto does say that he would have to file another RDA.
in addition to the one that's already been filed?
Yeah,
But can
because he's
we-
doing, so the RDA that I
Oh, okay,
filed.
because he's putting the wood chips in.
Yeah, because the
Gotcha.
RDA I
Okay.
filed was just for the work that he has done previously,
Right, okay,
not for
I
any
get it,
work.
I'm connecting the dots, I agree, I agree.
So the conclusion needs one more RDA.
He's gonna need an RDA for
Yes.
the work that
Yes,
he's
for
gonna
the
be
wood
doing
chips.
now, correct,
Yes,
okay.
Okay.
so we would
Um,
go through the process again, which I'm more than happy to do, I'm more than happy to go through the process with him again and help him out.
That is the correct procedural way to do it, so yes, so, alright, so, does anybody else have anything else on that? Alright, can we get a motion that, we're gonna refer this back to the applicant to file a new RDA?
I make a motion to refer back.
Second.
Okay.
And you're okay with the wood chips? Okay.
You wanna take them up there?
Any, discussion on the motion?
Motion.
Okay, hearing none, let's go vote.
Aye.
Aye. So passes. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Alright, so the next thing on our agenda is gonna be emergency beaver permit issuance for, West Brookfield Road. So there was a threat declared by the Brookfield Board of Health, I believe on the 3rd. We received the, notification, Thursday night. Me and Mr. Miko went out there Friday morning, with select board member, Thurad, and we saw that there's multiple beavers over there, multiple, beaver dams and a beaver deceiver. We issued our permit, to Highway Department and then revised it again to match the Board of Health's, permit dating. We've asked, Highway Department and, Mass Fish and Wildlife if they would maintain their, beaver, deceiver. So that's still up in the air, what's gonna happen on that.
We asked him.
So, procedurally, Board of Health has to go before us.
We should be working in concert. So it should be the same day.
Yeah, I got all the stuff that she sent me, and so looking at it, it looks
What
like
stuff did you get?
stuff from Maureen.
Okay, you forwarded it to me?
Yeah, you should already have it. It's all the same stuff.
No, I didn't get anything. I found out, Thursday night.
Yeah, because her her permit is set to expire
On the 13th.
tomorrow, or the day after. So we issued ours for 30 days?
No, we initially issued it for 30, and then Mass Fish and Wildlife said it needs to concur with Board of Health. So we can't have the same concurring start date, but we do have the same concurring end date.
Declaration of public health risk from the third. Alright, so under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 80A, we have the authority to issue emergency permits to beaver dam breaching in response to threats to human health and safety.
Right, so basically what we can do is.
So she needs to, we need to have that first before we can issue ours. So ours has to be dated after their Board of Health threat to human safety declaration.
It can be dated the same day, so if she issues, if she declares
Yeah.
it, if she declares it as a threat to public health on the 3rd, and we are notified, we can go out there on the 3rd and say, okay, you can take out that dam, you can take out that dam, and our dates could match. They could overlap, that there could be like a 1 day, as far as the starting date, like, so if she does it on the 3rd, we find out on the 3rd, we can't get out to the 4th, that's fine. The challenge we had with this permit is that, you know, we didn't find out until Thursday night, and by the time we get the highway department's closed on Friday, by the time they get the permit all resolved with us, they were literally down to 2.5 days left on the permit time.
And you cut it down, so that's one of the other complaints they had is the length of time for breach permit versus what the Board of Health has authorized.
So the Board of Health issues the threat to public health is good for 10 days. We issued a 30-day, and then we revised it down to expire on the 13th. So our current permit with the highway department expires on the 13th, the same day that the Board of Health expires. What I would like to see is I would like to see that the Board of Health communicates with us after they issue a permit. And I'd also like to see that, I mean, if you look at the Board of Health's beaver permit application, it lists their address, their email address, their phone number, Massive Fish and Wildlife phone number,
We need
two more
more
other-
signature on this, right?
two other ones, yeah. Two other agencies' phone number, but our email address and phone number is just not listed on there for the applicant to contact us.
So what are we debating?
Nothing really, it's just advised.
Okay.
So basically what's gonna have to happen is we're gonna start the process.
If the applicant wants to.
Yeah.
Right, so they can ask for an extension, they can ask for a second one, which would be another 10 days. And then after that, if they still have not been able to remedy their situation, they can go to the state and ask for a 30-day.
So who is the applicant?
In this case, the applicant will be Brookfield Highway Department.
Highway Department?
Yeah.
Where is it?
The Highway Department, it's
No, 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 no.
over there on Mill
The,
Street.
the location of the
This
permit,
one up on
Christopher.
Foxfield Road, right, by Richard's
It's
house.
West
We're
Brook.
defending Gene Liddell's house.
It's Jean's, right? Is it still Jean?
Yes, it's Gene's property.
This
It's
is something
also Massive Fish and Wildlife's property too, because there's a road back there, and we're not sure if that road is for fire trucks or not. So, yes, Mr. Pike.
Just a point of clarification, I prepared the permit for the 3rd, but I had a question to the state. The state didn't get back to me until the morning of the 6th, and I provided it to the highway department during the staff meeting that morning, so you issued it the same day.
But the permit was stated on the 3rd.
It was prepared on the 3rd, and I talked to the highway department, and I had concerns
Okay.
because it was a sunny week and there was no flooding that I could detect. So I was unsure about issuing the emergency until after I spoke to the state. I spoke to the state and they said that at that time that they were going to work with the town to alleviate the dam issue, and so then I issued it.
But the permit was issued on the 3rd or the 6th?
It was prepared on the 3rd, it's dated the 3rd.
Stated 3rd,
as
okay.
required, but I handed it to the highway department on the 6th. They were in agreement, I was holding it until I heard from the state. The state did not contact me until that morning, and within an hour, I gave it to the state, to the highway department.
I do have a question for Maureen. Is there a goal to help Jean
Permanently?
permanently?
Yeah. So we keep coming back to
But,
this.
the state does not require required to, remedy that as is on the owner, so I can't, I mean, I can just issue. the
Okay,
permit,
so you can
right?
just keep
But
it, yeah, okay. I just
Right,
didn't know,
right,
yeah,
right.
I didn't
Howard's
know,
been
yeah.
dealing with this for like
That
17
means-
years.
yeah.
I mean, it's just something I can't just.
Alright.
I think we got some more information.
Yes, we'll get,
No information,
Oh.
I'm just gonna request that you pass it over, because we're gonna be taking this up on the 20th, we have a select board meeting, and we can't talk about it right now,
Okay.
because we're a forum.
yeah, please,
There's
Richard,
a whole
Richard.
bunch other stuff going on that was happening today that I think we should just.
Alright,
Alright.
You
I'll make
guys-
a motion
you
to
guys
pass.
can table it, because it's gonna be.
Yep.
There's really no motion on this fair, just to
Okay.
let the board know that.
I make a motion to pass over the
I second
agenda
that
item,
motion.
just in case.
Call vote, Chris.
A motion to pass over, it's just an agenda item, we don't have to take action on this agenda item.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, next.
all right,
Pass over.
all right, all in favor to pass over the agenda item?
Aye.
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 Alright, and so ordered. Alright, so the next thing on our agenda is going to be a complaint for 14 Fishtail Road. So the issue with 14 Fishtail Road is that there was a complaint received regarding a company in town using 14 Fishtail Road as a staging area for sand loading, unloading that is approximately 15 feet from the wetland. So I received that complaint, I went out there. The original complaint that I got is that there was a huge mound of sand and dirt out there. By the time I got out there, it was gone. But it was definitely clear that there was movement of earth to that location.
This is all we have pictures?
No, get some more of that.
Is this from the person that reported it or something?
I went over
Or
there,
this is
I-
it?
that was
So
me.
this-
When I got there, there was no mound.
There's no problem.
There was no mound. I guess right here, there was a mound of sand.
Okay.
So, but that mound of sand was not there when I got there.
So something was reported to us, by the time we got there, there was no problem.
Well, there is a problem. So the problem is that they it's right on top. This is 014 Vista Road.
Yes.
All right. So it's literally surrounded by wetlands all behind there. It's all wetlands. So if that was any other private, if the owner was out there doing work next to there, it's too close to the wetlands. It's too close. And the solution I have, and I talked to Bill about this, if we could just simply ask the party involved, just to simply ask the highway department to use their parking lot as a staging area. That way they'll have permission from the property owner to do it. 2, there's already sand over there, there's a ton of sand. And 3, it's not near any wetlands, and the situation's resolved, boom, done.
So do we want to ask the party that's here today, or are we just
Or
going to pass that?
we could do it informally, so that we could send a text or an email or whatever the case may be. Or we can make it more formal and say, please don't use that area as a staging area, it's too close to the wetland. Or,
I think informal right sounds a better choice.
yes, Mr. Chairman.
I just want to make it really clear that after our blowout on Wednesday, you found it an opportunity to come to several of my sites to seek me out, all by yourself, without notification of the board. You were caught on Weber Road at a property that I own by my son. When I notified you, I asked you if you were there alone or if the board had been notified. You said you were there alone. You then stated, I asked after I said what the issue was, you said, we may have a violation. We may have a tree that has fallen in the wetland. Do you remember that, Chris?
But that was by text, right, Rich?
Yep.
Because we don't communicate by phone, right?
No, you tried to communicate with me by phone and you asked me to call you so that we could have a private discussion. And I said, no, we will only communicate via text message. You want to
Okay.
read that? Or you want me to read it off mine?
Well, we trust you.
No,
You're rogue at this point.
okay. You're out of order, okay? You're not
I'm
gonna,
making an observation.
well, you could keep those observations to
I'm
account.
allowed to verbalize any observation I may have.
Okay, then, Rich, this is just really not right. To sit there and
What's
say,
not right
Let
is
me-
after we had a blowout, that you're caught on one of my properties, and now you have another verbal complaint. They're only verbal complaints, and then after the first verbal complaint that you had, that we may have a problem with a possible tree down, Your second verbal complaint that was not in writing to you, and I believe you guys have a policy that you somewhat established, but the second one was that you couldn't see if the silt fence was up all the way. So then, without notifying the whole board, you then made an appointment with me, and I really didn't want to let you on my property, but in speaking to other members, I did allow you on my property. But I asked you to remove yourself because of the blowout. You
Okay.
emphatically denied that you're gonna remove yourself. You've made the statement that that I'm 15 feet from a wetland. You wouldn't know a wetland if you were walking in.
All right, that's
You
out of
don't
order.
have any training.
That's out of order.
Gentlemen, can we try to keep the tone
Okay.
down
That's out of order.
and one at a time?
But you don't have any training, do you?
Yes, I do, okay?
What's the training that you
Now,
have?
let me.
I'm asking you for the training.
Rich,
I'm asking
Rich.
you for your training.
Rich, I'm gonna respond to what you said, okay?
Okay.
Let's start at the beginning, because I did file a disclosure with the town, for our anything. To sit there and say that we had a blowout.
We lived, do you want me to let the audience hear it tonight? I'll share that
Excuse me,
blowout where
Rich,
you said.
Rich.
Listen,
You
Rich,
said me,
listen.
Rich,
Gentlemen, one at a time.
We're sticking to 14 Fiskdale Road.
Right.
That's what's on the agenda.
right, so,
So you, again, you don't know what a wetland is.
I'm
so
gonna call you
made
out of order,
mistakes.
sir, I'm gonna call you out of order. I allowed you to speak, show me the same courtesy, please, okay? Please let me speak, okay? We didn't have a blowout. You echoed, word for word, the same things that Mr. Holcraft has been harassing me over and over a year, that the judge has given me a protection order over, okay?
Start
That's one.
from the start.
I think
You
that
confronted me.
This is not relative to the order at hand.
You can
14
talk,
Fiskdale
sorry.
Road.
Okay.
Can we
So-
please
so-
stick to the
hold on one
agenda?
second. Chris, just let me, can I just step in for 1 second, just let, calm down for just a second. Is this something you wish to make a formal complaint on?
I'm asking the board again to reconvene, to take him out of the situation that he's in, because last night he texted me at 8 o'clock that he's then on at number 6 Molasses Hill Road, doing an inspection, that he removed himself from the vote on number 6 Molasses Hill. He inadvertently texted me, he's at 6 Molasses Hill Road.
I didn't inadvertently text you, I texted you. Now, listen, you've said a lot of stuff, and
I'm
I
asking
would
you
like,
to
I would
remove yourself.
like to be able to have an opportunity, a fair opportunity, to rebut to everything that you just
No,
said.
I'm asking you to remove
So I
yourself.
can't say anything.
I'm
Am I allowed
asking
to
the board
say-
to take a vote to remove you from
Well,
chairman.
that-
Anything to do
Gentlemen.
with me, if nothing else.
Let me have 2 seconds to say
Let's
something.
stick to number 14.
No,
You
no,
said,
no, no.
you said that I was
Okay.
15 feet from a wetland. I am
I-
not 15 feet from a wetland. There was no earth removal on the site. What triggers the Conservation Commission, in case you don't know, is dredging, filling, what was the last one?
Otherwise.
Altering.
Altering a wetland.
Okay,
I worked off a concrete pad that has been there for 100 years. You don't have any pictures of me, but I'm gonna concede that I did. Oh, okay, so I'm gonna concede that I did, but you don't have the dirt, but I'm gonna concede that I did do that, and I've done it for 24 years. I had permission from the state as well as the highway department when I started. I've done it consistently for 24 years.
okay. So let me respond, okay? First of all, 42 Weber, the Weber Road, I wasn't caught outside your.
You were caught, you didn't notify me that you were there.
Rich, I have afforded you every opportunity. Please, go take your seat.
Are we, talking about?
Seriously.
All right, can we talk about 14 Fiskdale Road? So I called Mia from the DEP this afternoon and asked her about 14 Fiskdale Road because I intended this was gonna happen. So, according to Mia from the DEP, she stated that Fish and Wildlife owns the property. We need to have Fish and Wildlife notified, they need to be present. Whether Mr. Chafee is dropping fill, dropping stone, whatever, that is a matter between him and Fish and Wildlife. If Fish and Wildlife has a problem with it, then that is between the property owner and Mr. Chafee. As far as him filling and altering the wetland, because that was the complaint, I talked to Mia, she pulled it up on the GIS, she said the concrete pad and him putting stone there would not be altering, filling, or dredging the wetland. But that does not mean that it is not a property owner issue and that he has permission from Fish and Wildlife to drop fill there. She did say if Fish and Wildlife did okay it, Mr. Chafee could file an RDA in the work work would be allowable. Because he is picking it up the same day. He is
Right.
simply dropping it off at one point and then he is picking it up in the afternoon later.
Right.
But to go through the process, Fish and Wildlife would need to be involved, they would need to be known that he is doing it, and everybody else, including other contractors, other paving companies, would need to file an RDA in order for the fill to be there.
Right, thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking. So that's why I was thinking, instead of going through all that nonsense.
Can you
just
clarify the same?
Excuse me, you don't have the floor. I mean, seriously, Rich, I'm speaking right now, and you're being so disrespectful, not letting me have a chance to speak on anything. I think the easiest solution is, instead of filing an RDA every time you want to dump a load over there, is just to ask the highway department for permission to use theirs. They got so much space over there, and there's sand already over there, there's no wetlands. Everybody walks away happy. And I've treated you more than fair on every single occasion. To sit there and to make these allegations.
Let's try not to, let's
Right.
keep the personalities of both of you. Mr. Chafee, we think we found a solution there.
I
Is that something you'd be open to?
understand the solution, but again,
Yeah.
I'm asking for the board to recognize what's transpired between showing up on my property with a bogus complaint and then it leading to a second one and then a third one. That's what I'm asking the board to consider. Removing them and reconvene the board based on that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Just targeting.
Okay, you can take your seats, sir. Just so everybody knows, this was Saturday or Sunday, and I had plans
Can
on
we hold
Saturday.
on for 1 second?
Saturday, Saturday.
We thought that we found a compromise and a solution. Would you be open to that in the future?
The
Because that's what we're really looking for.
The
We're not
compromise
looking
is
for the
I will
personalities.
never store gravel there again because I'm never gonna put myself in this position. But
Okay.
the reality of it is, it doesn't trigger any one of those three requirements that triggers it, but I am not gonna do it again. And if my concern was that Mr. Kelleher called me and wanted to have an off-the-record conversation. That was my concern. Read it, Chris.
I will read it. Because, you know.
Please call me so we can discuss it off the record.
No, what I said was, I said,
Okay,
Rich,
I think we got a solution though, right?
Yeah,
In the future,
absolutely.
that's what we're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for. Thank you, Mr. Cheney.
I said, Rich, it's your
Okay,
land.
I think we've solved it at this point.
It's really frustrating to hear all these accusations, and I can't even rebut it, even though the information sits.
Well, it's your
right in front.
actions, Chris. You showed up there.
You're out of
I
order,
know,
Rich.
both of you.
You're
All right.
out of order, Rich.
I think we've solved the problem.
So the problem is that we're not gonna do an RDA over there, it's gonna be over at highway from now on.
Right.
And these complaints were before my time.
Okay. We found a solution. That's what we're here to do.
Yeah. There's been multiple complaints.
Is it about this or something else?
Something else.
What, Jeff? Make it quick.
Mr. Chairman, I have sat here patiently, I didn't realize where I was on the agenda, but we had an item about the sand for the South Pond Beach. I need to get back to my.
Yeah, okay, so, yeah,
Is that the next item, or we have stuff to go over?
That is the next item. So the next item on the agenda is gonna be the sand at the South Pond Beach. So, Brad, did you want to speak on this?
Yeah, we're gonna close up the previous item.
Yeah, are we done?
We
So
did.
what are we
There's
doing?
there's no action.
He agrees with the solution.
Yeah, we agree. So, does he need to?
Yeah, he needs to,
Leave?
Rich, you need to recuse yourself.
Yep, I'm gonna recuse myself.
You wanna come up, Jeff? You're on the beach committee.
Yeah, I'm the chairman of the beach committee, and,
You can go.
You got it, Jeff.
So, it's been brought up before to the Conservation Commission, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, about renourishing the beach at South Pond. It's a permitted action. We have an agreement with the state that allows for renourishment. The board at that time felt differently about the renourishing process and what it has to be, what has to be done to renourish it. And what I'd like to do is come back to the conservation to kind of get your temperature on the idea of renourishing it and what you'd like to see if we were to do that. The other issue there at South Pond is there's no access to the handicap ramp that they have there. That also needs to be rebuilt and redone. The backstory to all that is that beach is actually memorialized after Dick Woodard from town, who was in a wheelchair and there's actually no handicap access right now. So we want to mitigate that issue and get a handicap path from the parking lot down to the beach. So it's kind of two things, sand and then figuring out something to,
Where's the funding coming from?
hopefully it's gonna.
Did you wanna add
This
something?
is, this
That-
is an
that's why it's-
advisory question, where's the funding
Well, that's why it's
coming
going to the
from?
Board of Selectmen, because we're gonna try to see what we can do, for mostly volunteers.
Okay,
The genesis of this was that the Parks and Recreation Committee used to handle the beach. They didn't want anything to do with it, so myself and a few other people volunteered and, have been putting the buoys on every year. And basically, when the state put that ramp in to help with the boats getting in and out, they knocked off, as Brad had said, the handicap accessibility. That's a separate issue, but it's all part of trying to make South Pond Beach accessible for everyone and in a nice condition.
And for years it was renourished. We did renourish it for many years.
Ken Cleveland had, through his contacts and resources, had been able to get, I think it's Tim Cummins, to bring in sand from a pit that's very close to South Pond, so it's sort of part of the
Same
same
sand.
environment.
yeah, same sand.
Sand.
Brookfield said.
And at a certain point, when we reestablished or started the South Pond Beach Committee, the chairmanship of this committee was different. When I approached that person, was told that absolutely not, it would affect the impact or the environment of the pond because of sand runoff or could disturb whatever. So I said, fine, I'm not gonna fight that battle. I just want to get the buoys out every year so we have a little swimming pond area.
But I think there's also a Board of Health.
Yeah, that was gonna be my
She
question.
recuses herself, I can't speak.
Oh.
Right, so,
Shuffle the seats.
but again, the intent of us coming here was to have three parts, the selectmen, the South Pond Beach Committee, the Conservation Committee, and the Board of Health all work in unison to keep the beach nice. Brad is just filling you in on the basic, some of the other things, like the ramp is a big thing, because it should be, we should have a handicap accessibility, but that's aside from what we're trying to do.
Yeah, as far as the sand goes, Maureen, my question is, was there a problem with the Board of Health with the sand?
No, the issue is that right now it's a wet pond muck, little kids are sitting down in muck.
Okay,
Probably harbors a lot of bacteria. Sand will harbor more bacteria
yeah,
than
those,
water.
okay,
But when you have sand put down, what you have to do is rake it regularly so that you're exposing it to the sunlight so that any bacteria can die, and then you're also screening out like poop, birds, and things like that. So if you do put sand down, it's definitely a step up from what you have right now, but you do have the caveat of needing to maintain that by raking it regularly, like at least daily.
Is anyone testing that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we tested it, and
Yeah.
we have a new, the state has created an interactive dashboard for the results, and so, I'll be sending out a notification about that, shortly, but, anyone can look and see the results from there, but.
So you see this as a net positive, and it's something that we need to move on so they can move on?
So,
I think it would be, personally, speaking for myself, a better situation than the current situation that's there. My problem right now is, it's been 3 weeks since it's opened, the testing levels have been low so far, we haven't had significant rainfall. But there's already starting to be trash appearing on the, premises, and, these are pollutants that can add to it. Other types of runoff, if you see any sources of runoff, please report it, because if we can mitigate those issues, then we ultimately will have less bacteria problems at the beach, and we won't have to necessarily close it. But certainly, adding some sand, some cleaner, drier sand, that's raked regularly would be, I think, a benefit to children who are
Okay.
playing there.
okay.
Maybe up until 15 years ago, it was maintained, there was a lifeguard on duty.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It was
okay. Oh, so it was an actual, like, maintained beach, okay.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So-
And then the rec department, when they didn't have enough members to deal with it, it just kind of fell apart, right?
Whatever it was, they just wanted Lewis Field and softball and said.
Alright.
So-
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You're saying in the past though that Conservation Commission was trying to overstep DEP? It's a great pond, so their regulations.
No,
No, it wasn't
No.
DEP.
Well, DEP is certain regulations on great ponds. So.
I don't even think they ever approached DEP. I think it's because the chair turned it down. I
Right,
think she,
yeah.
and to be honest, I think it's because she lived on the lake, I think, or something. I don't
She
even know.
lives
She
real
lives
close
on
to
the
it.
lake, or so she
And
was
she-
against it, so they never even reached out to DEP or went through the proper channels to even
No,
start
as
the
I said,
process.
all I'm trying to do, I've been trying to do for the last 3 years is to wait for the political whatever to change and then try to push it ahead forward. It just so happened coincidentally with the handicapped accessibility is becoming more of an issue. They thought we could try to push both of those, issues. I mean, they're both big,
Because there's
big,
complaints coming in about.
big hurdles to push. I mean, the beach is fine the way it is, but I think it would be much nicer, as Maureen has mentioned, if we would
Yeah, I
put the
agree.
sand in there, and I think it would be free. Again, the thing that I didn't realize was about the having to be raked every day, so, with.
Sounds like you signed up for a rating.
Yeah, Jeff, are you
So,
signed up?
yeah,
You
this is
live
what I'm
right
saying.
by, you live right by there, Jeff.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying, that I normally, as part of the QQLA, we have, an annual cleanup. I normally go down there and look and pick up stuff also. Having to rake the beach every day, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to do that. We have a very small committee.
Could
So
you,
that's why I've been pushing it,
could you
slowly.
create a calendar and get volunteers from the pond, so that each person had a week or two, or something like that?
What I will do tomorrow night at the board of directors of the QQLA, is ask them if they would be in favor of this, and if so, if they would maybe volunteer some people.
Yeah.
Again, I'm probably the youngest member on the QQLA committee, and I'm,
Oh,
over 65, so again, that's, could be a little bit difficult as far as when people throwing their backs out or whatever else.
Sometimes grandparents also have the power to draft their grandchildren too.
That's
All for that non-unionized thing.
that's a
So you
good
can match.
idea. I put mine to work already.
The previous
Feeling
premise to.
So what do you need from us, Jeff?
Is that
No.
All I need
Not to have the
is
same.
sort of a
I don't want
positive
to have the same.
indication, because before when I spoke to the chairman, it was a phone call and it was told, absolutely not, I'll sue you if you put any sand on the beach. So I don't want that to occur, so I'm basically just saying, if you think it's a positive situation, then our next step would be, I suppose, to review the contract with the state wildlife and whatever, say, look, does this classify as renourishment? We wanna put some sand from,
Okay.
300 yards away on top of the beach. If we can get it done, it's probably not gonna be this summer, but eventually we can plan. Jeff Clark.
Jeff, I'm sorry. I'm no.
And your name is?
I'm Bill.
Bill.
Baker. So it's a great pond, so DEP has certain regulations around great ponds. Typically what I've seen happen, people want to add a beach or refurbish the beaches or anything like that, adding sand to it. They normally have a barrier that keeps the sand from going into the water. And that's the normal regulation, so it's usually like those compost socks. Can't remember the name of it. What do they call those things?
Oh, wow.
No,
No.
not straw wattles and socks.
No,
The 4-inch socks.
oh,
Yeah. So
I know what
usually,
you're talking about.
usually they have those to keep the sand from going in and filling in the great pond. That's the only concern that I would normally think would come up with something like this, is what I've seen in the past.
Yeah, I'm just not
Yeah,
sure, given
yeah.
the size of the beach, which is very small, plus the fact that last year with the rainfall, it was up like, how many feet over normal, that.
I will consult with DEP.
I wouldn't have a clue on that, but I think
I
that
would
might
say it was
preclude
because
us putting any more sand in,
I
if
saw-
we had to have that sort of a barrier.
I saw a 15-foot beach on Nagama Pond that they were trying to install, have all this regulation come up from the DEP. And that's why I bring it up, because I would hate for something like this to happen, and, it'd be a violation, so.
No, that again is why I'm alerting you to that, and then the next step would be to go,
Yeah, if we can
Talk
find
to
out
the
from
people.
you guys, what you guys need and what wherever else you guys deal with.
Yeah.
Well,
Needs.
we actually, we debated this before in a joint session with the Board of Health.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that?
Yeah,
as well, okay.
I was-
Yeah, that we would definitely be receptive to this, because it has the health benefit, it's gonna be a lot better. So unless the commission has changed its mind since then, I think, you know,
Yeah, it's just a question of logistics might be daunting, I don't know, because I've been beating my head for 3 years trying to get, some movement on the handicap situation, so this is just a small item, but again, it has to follow the rules and regulations, so you can see, but as long as there's no negative thing, at least we can try to push it ahead jointly, I hope, right, I would assume, Maureen, that was your intent, also sort of form a tripartite, thing to move it along.
So do we have any major objections?
I don't. The only thing that, like we said earlier, that the previous chair of the Conservation Commission probably had like a personal issue, and that's why it didn't happen in the past. That was my gist of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that we have a new commission. And
Jeff's generally a pretty good guy, he's got some weird taste in
Generally?
music, but.
I love the beer you drink, yeah.
I have to deal with them on the advisory committee, so.
He did trick me into getting on this board, so.
Well, no, that's why I told all these people that were here earlier, I thought they were all part of the committee, I said, look, my name is Jeff Clark, and I'm responsible for you being on the board here, because I was standing outside of the gym, and you saw me
Yeah.
for 2 years trying to get volunteers, so.
So, in general, Bill, do you feel any objections? Because I think the rest of us don't.
So, well, I don't think I'm necessarily looking for a.
We're not looking for a
No, no,
motion.
no, I would say.
No, I'm not objecting to it, but I'm just looking.
Looks like we're getting a thumbs up from that direction, so I'm getting a thumbs up from this direction.
Authorization. So there are 5 basic types of activities subject to Chapter 91 authorization. These include both new and existing unauthorized activities and are as follows. So structures, filling, placement of any unconsolidated materials that is confined or expected to remain in place in the waterway except for materials placed by natural processes. Such placement includes materials placed for the purposes of shoreline protection, beach nourishment, or subaqueous disposal of dredged spoils. And this is all under Chapter 91 of the Mass General Law, the Massachusetts Public Waterfront Act.
Send me the link.
It allows for beach renourishment.
Under
Sorry.
their guidelines, yeah, so
I
they're,
think we have permission to, from the Fish and Wildlife to renourish. It's
So-
part of our.
Right, see, that's the tricky part, of it. It's a very short contract, it just says you're responsible for beach renourishment, but it doesn't,
There's no
detail-
guidelines.
No guidelines.
Seems like there's nothing holding us back, except there was a personality in the past, but that personality's gone.
Right.
So I don't think you have a problem from us. So you guys should move
It's-
forward.
That's fine.
is it Concom or Concom 2?
You're gonna consult with the Mass Fish and Wildlife, I assume?
Whoever is on, I can't remember the.
Yeah, I think the select board will have to go to Fish and Wildlife and say, this is what our plans are, or the health
I mean,
approves it, Concom approves
Commissioner,
it.
DCR, if this was DCR land, there'd be a nice sandy beach there, the lifeguard, right? In our area, we have very little resources to residents to go to the beach. And I think if you stress that point to them, that the DCR doesn't maintain many properties around this particular area like they do in Hopkinton and Westboro and different areas where people can enjoy a beach, we're very limited here in this area. And I would kind of push that public
But
health
the
need
only
for
thing-
equity.
The only thing I heard was that the former hit person who controlled the contract and warden from the wildlife really wanted to turn the beach back into just a fishing without the beach. So that was why everything was just sort of in the other side. That was sort of why everything was in limbo. So maybe that person has changed or retired, so there might be a better shot.
I don't think you're getting any objections from either side
I would
here.
consult with
No.
the state and see what they say.
Right. I'm also just using this as a information,
We're not after you,
also
Jeff.
so that you'll know.
Yeah, you're gonna have some hurdles to go through.
Yeah.
Yeah, go through those hurdles you have.
I would definitely say go to DEP, get some kind of Mass Waterways license. I think it's pretty much similar to what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I think just, we don't, I mean.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
fine.
all set.
It's-
Thank you.
I don't
All
think it's
right.
in our jurisdiction, right, so.
Is anything else, Chris?
Yeah, so the next thing will be, policies and handbooks. We're gonna review policy of appointments to the commission, so we can ask that to be on the agenda. And And I also propose that we create a handbook or a binder for the commission that reviews our previous, policies and important information. Kind of like, Sharon Mahoney's binder, you ever seen that one?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I got the binder.
yeah.
We got somebody out in the audience raising their hand.
Just saying, did you skip 44 Pine Lane or? I was just curious.
Oh, 44 Pine Lane, I don't know, I don't have any more
Yeah,
information.
discussion on 44 Pine Lane, thank you for the observation. So, is anybody here for 44 Pine Lane?
No.
Okay, so motion's passed over.
Motion
Well,
passes.
are they still pumping water into the
I
lake?
don't know, I haven't heard
They
anything
shouldn't be
from
pumping
them.
any water, so like, the question is, are they pumping water back into the road? That's how this whole thing started.
Yeah, but I went out there, or I know Bill went out there, I was out there.
I think the dry season so far is.
I didn't see any.
When did you guys go out there?
I went out there on a random day when it was raining,
It's a
because that's
Saturday
what she
morning.
said when it was raining.
It was a Saturday morning, so.
And Bill went out there Saturday, but I went out there by myself.
You went out there by yourself?
Yeah, just stop by.
See if there was.
She told me I could. To see, cause it only
But
happens
we
during a
agreed that day
rainstorm.
that if somebody else could, if we could come by and get a second observation after rain, one of us would.
I
Yeah.
think the grading is a problem there.
Yeah, that's
I
so.
completely agree.
Yeah, and I looked into stormwater, it didn't really seem like it was a stormwater issue, it just seemed like a grading issue and that they didn't level.
Well, and what she was saying is that the entire road floods.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it also looked like something that it only happens after extreme circumstances, and they get 3 days of where they have to put on their wellies
Yeah,
to
and
get
that-
through it.
yeah.
And there's no real solution to it. Not,
So
Right.
they were redoing the road.
Yeah, so there's really nothing we can do.
there was
No.
nothing that we could do in that
We
situation.
can't even advise them.
Yeah, unless, you know, we have an extra duck boat to give her, but.
Okay.
Wish.
All right, so moving on to agenda item number 12 will be policies and handbooks of the review of policy for appointments to the commission and proposal to create the handbook of binder. So the appointments to the commission, the way that we've been doing it is, there's not a stampede of people saying I want to join the commission. It's staggered, you know, I have to literally beg people to join. And they would be sent over to the select board for appointment. But I guess, Bill made a valid point that maybe if we want to have them, come here first, would we vote? One of the challenges with that is, you know, that we're appointed. So if the select board said, if I go to the select board, say I want to be on, you know, whatever board that's appointed, they don't need that board's permission to put me on there. So,
Yeah,
right.
it's not, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
they could
not
just, they could
allowed to do
bypass us.
that. Yeah.
So we could make a rule saying, you know, that we'd like the candidates to come before us, but just let they know if we do make that rule, there is an end round. They can just bypass us completely.
Was anyone notified by the select board that they were going to be reviewing the candidate?
No.
What do you mean?
So
Our board or the
Yeah.
select board?
So anybody from the select board notified the conservation commission to say that they're going to be reviewing the candidate?
No.
What do you mean review?
Well,
Like
they
doing
had-
the vetting or?
Yeah, well, they had to go, I'm assuming they had them in to a meeting and
No,
and
they
give a
didn't.
little interview and.
No,
No,
they
no.
don't. No, they
No,
just, they don't,
they just appoint.
they just appoint.
So
So they didn't know who she was.
she didn't have to appear
No.
before them.
She didn't
No,
know.
they knew who she was, but they had her resume, and they also spoke to, what's her name? Your relative.
Shelby.
Shelby.
She
So-
just said, yeah, I know
She's
she's a
just,
good person.
yeah, right, so Shelby, right, so because I didn't know who she was, and I told the select board, I said, I don't know Emily, I've never met her, but
What
she,
related to Shelby Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's my sister.
that she wanted to
The
be.
daughter was our way to get it. She did a great job.
That she wanted to be appointed to the commission. I even asked Karen, I said, are we supposed to vet them? And she says, no, that the treasurer does the Cory checks.
Mhm.
Well, I know that her daughter and Brendan both won in 6th grade when they graduated.
Oh,
They
yeah.
both got the award for
You get a
having
small
done
town
all
here,
the
Bill.
homework the entire year. Only her and.
You guys didn't, honestly, you guys didn't know anything about me either, right? Just
Right.
what I
Yeah,
told
exactly,
Sarah.
so right, so.
Yeah, just because you said.
You're excited to bet on a board?
Right, so what happened
We're
was,
excited to have anybody.
Sarah had either texted or emailed me saying, we have somebody who wants to join. Great, what's his name? His name's William Meeker, and this is his address, and he used to be on Wilbraham Conservation, and that went over to the select board, and the select board appointed you, and that's.
That's big town, man.
Yeah, but that's how That's,
That was fun.
that's how we're doing it.
Is that-
It's, I can understand like if we had like 5 people and there was only one slot, and so they said, oh, we wanna join, then we said, okay, you know, we have to, you know, I don't know if it's, I don't even know if it is us that makes that choice, I believe it's the select board that makes
It's
the
the
choice.
select board.
Right, yeah.
And
The
they
select,
just-
select board makes a decision,
Right.
but usually they seek input from the commission. So it's not, I mean, ultimately it's their decision, right?
It's their decision ultimately, and I think the reason that we've been trying to get people to join, and we've always had one slot open, always had one slot, there's always been one
There
slot.
was no conservation committee before.
Before us, yeah.
We came on, basically it was this guy, Jeff Clark, with the glasses, he was at the dump begging people, saying, we haven't had a commission in 2 years.
Was somewhere seen it before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's on the advisory.
he's like Mr. Positive, always trying to get
He's
things
dressed
done.
up. Doesn't look like that, no.
But that's how we reformed, because this didn't exist for 2 years,
Oh, wow.
so business couldn't get done.
Yeah.
And so Chris joined at the same time that Meg and I did, and then we had 2 other couples that joined.
Well, it just seems like somewhere, I mean, hopefully the select, no, we didn't select the board. They should have some sort of vetting process and make sure someone's just not coming into town and saying, hey, you know, I'm gonna be a conservation so I can sway votes. You know what I mean? I mean, you're saying right now that Emily said she's good, somebody said, hey, you know this person's pretty good, yeah. And they go, okay, what do you guys think? Good.
That's what we do with you.
I
know, Sarah vouched for you, I mean.
Yeah, I vouched for you.
It's like the mafia, you were vouched for it.
I had to vouch for you, don't.
We all had to get like trained when we got on here and stuff like that. You came
So
on
maybe we
trained.
can't have a policy, but maybe we can actually make some sort of formal request to the select board that say, if we do have a nomination, please notify us so we can attend.
Yes,
That I like.
that I like.
That I like.
We
Keep it
will.
informal, but
Alright,
get us involved.
alright, so
Yeah,
we
that's
will,
good.
we want to attend if there's gonna be an appointment.
Yeah, because I just don't like, yeah, I agree with Bill, I don't really, not saying it's in the dark, but, and I'm not saying Emily's a bad person, I'm not saying anything, I don't even know who she is, but it could be anybody sitting in the seat, but I don't know, I think that we should be informed and we should know, and
Yeah,
we should be more involved in the process.
Right.
because it's not like any of us recruited, it just kind of happened, of which I'm glad.
Yeah, which is fine, yeah, I'm glad, but I just
More
don't know,
America.
you never know.
Okay.
So we need to, like, as far as other policies you're talking about, do we need to do them one by one? We're gonna have a working group, we're gonna form a subcommittee, or?
How do you guys want to do it? We could do a subcommittee if you want.
I don't know, couldn't Chris, our clerk, this is why we pay him, couldn't he just go through other towns and
Start copying their policies.
come up with a draft, and just come up with a couple of draft, and
Sure.
then we could go from there, just to start.
Do we have priority in which ones? I mean, site visits I think are important.
Well, site visit the complaints. How we
Yeah, I would
process-
say complaints.
How we
and site
process the
visits,
complaints
yeah.
so we don't have the show that we had here tonight.
And I'm sure
Okay.
MACC has some like free ones that we could look at, or he could look at.
I would say complaints, site visits, I think that's it. Those are
I would
two.
think those, yes, complaints
To
and
start
start visits to start,
Yeah.
yeah.
Usually policies and rules come about because there was a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This rule was created because of, you know, there was somebody
Right.
made it that had to be created.
Yeah, so maybe Chris could just look into some other towns and,
Yeah, what about,
What do we call our clerk? I keep thinking we're talking about.
I know, our clerk, so we could, our clerk.
Okay, so Chris, you're all set, good on that?
I'm not doing it.
communication stuff, like via text, is that considered appropriate for these sorts of things?
This? No. We do not want to debate stuff outside of the
I'm
public.
not saying debating it, but just
Even-
notification and.
No. Because if Chris sends it to us all, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, he doesn't want to though.
But if we,
Should he be responsible for that?
Yeah, but he doesn't want to. And so, okay, so Kelly told him that when our old town administrator, Kelly, told him that he did not need to be responsible for the work. That's that aspect of the job. So he said that he was not willing to give out his phone number, he was not willing to text the commission, he was only willing to communicate with Chris and Chris only. And Kelly, the town administrator, agreed to that before she left.
right, there's actually, that's right, there's the chain of command that she called.
Yeah, she called it the chain of command, and she established that, like, I cannot contact Chris, our clerk. I have to contact Chris Kelleher, and Chris Kelleher has to contact our clerk.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's,
So
okay.
what's he doing for us? Just the minutes?
He does the minutes and he deals with, phone calls, he deals with our emails, to the AP clerk email.
But he's not even doing our orders of conditions, or is he?
I'm sorry?
Is he doing orders of condition, or?
He should be doing, yeah, he should be doing those, yes. There's a complete list of all his duties that he's
Yeah.
responsible for. I did upload it to, one of our, meetings when he was first,
Yeah, it was.
hired. But I think this is a task we're gonna refer over to him, and then we'll just take a look at it at a meeting, and then we adopt it.
Yeah, we can,
Right.
we can, at least, like, he can start and have like
You can make our rough draft.
yeah, he can make our rough draft and we can, edit, but at least like he kinda gives us a start.
Yep,
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, alright, so moving on is gonna be, the last thing on the agenda will be, correspondence, a letter from the Attorney General for the old meeting minutes, I already gave you that.
Yes.
There's a letter from the Attorney General regarding, posting of signs if we change our meeting location.
Can we change the meeting location and just post a sign?
No. Yes and no, so if you to put up just the signs, that would be half correct, and here's gonna be that email.
Okay.
So, what we have to do is anything that we,
And I'm assuming we did this because of the
Oh,
citizen that did the open meeting law complaint regarding,
it was suggested that that putting up a sign, like, so if we said that, we're gonna hold our meeting here tonight, and we decided we were gonna move it, and putting up a sign on the front door was gonna be sufficient, but it's not. What we would have to, this is on the basis that we're having just a regular public meeting, no hearing, no nothing, just a regular public meeting. If we're having a hearing, that's a whole different ballgame that the Mass Attorney General's Office, Open Meeting Department, doesn't even wanna answer, because they're saying there's different rules and regulations for different types of hearings. So they don't wanna even go down that rabbit hole. So I'd say hypothetically, we're just having a regular open meeting, and we decide to change the locations. Putting up a sign, yes, we can do that, but we also have to, this is the important part, we also have to update it wherever we listed that meeting. So we have to update my town government, to concur with that. So just putting up one sign and saying that we're good is not gonna be sufficient.
Who does that, Christopher?
Putting up a sign?
No updates, my town government.
I do.
no, Chris does, yeah.
I update that, I put all those documents up. Alright,
Okay.
and I guess the last thing on our agenda is gonna be adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
I wanna stay here another.
Who made that second?
me.
All in favor?
Aye.
The Conservation Commission is adjourned at 8:47 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else? All right, dinner is the next.
Jesus.
You're good.
I want to drive.
I have so many of these things I don't have to do.
It's very lovely.
I have a solar project in Wilbraham. Well, I had one, I got rid of it, but it was, the diagrams they gave were this big. Like the full-size ones, and it was like this thick. I'm like, what am I gonna do with it? And they actually had somebody deliver it to my house because they couldn't get it.
It's cheaper to hand deliver than to mail.
No, the solar arrays are like the hardest thing possible.
Chris, don't forget your recording.
Yeah, I'll get that, so.
All right,
Nah, good, thanks.
all right. See you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
We got 110, 20-year-olds at home.
Oh.
I think we said we were